And my book is called Dreams of My Mothers. I totally ripped off President Obama. He wrote a book called Dreams from My Father. And he received criticism from both the left and the right for really one thing. He said, you met your dad for 15 minutes in your life. And you write an entire book about him, and you mention almost nothing about your mother or your grandmother that raised you. However you feel about it. And I was like, I'm going to learn from this, and I'm going to make sure that I say dreams of my mothers. I'm going to double down and say dreams of my mothers. So I figure that that'll get me from whether it's the right or the left. But like many of you, we all have very interesting lives to ourselves. Almost none of us, and me included, probably have a life that interesting to anyone else. So what I try to do is take part of my life experience, use it as backdrop, and to write something that's called biographical fiction. And I really wanted to write a story about two women who were mothers, because we all have mothers. And maybe you all don't, but me and most of my friends have some angst in our relationship with our mothers, because we knew them as this institution called mom. And it's this colossal, massive institution that no human being can ever truly live up to. Yet, all moms are women, and women are just people, just like any and every one of us. And consequently, I wanted to write a story about two people, two women, whose lives get connected through a very rare, improbable thing of international, interracial adoption. But within it is contained probably every element of the human experience and the most closely held human themes: tragedy, loss, joy, gain, judgment. And so for me, I was my mother was an entrepreneur in the oldest profession, and my father was one of her clients, an American GI, and I lived with her until I was almost 7. One of the things that you may not realize with Hwa's was that until 1998, Korean nationality laws was that if you had a Korean mother, even if you were born in Korea, but you did not have a Korean father, you were not a Korean citizen. You did not have right to go to public school past the 4th grade. You did not have access to social services. You weren't eligible for most jobs. And so it was a situation where I try to put it that think of if you had some of the issues that we had back in the Jim Crow days, what it would have been for someone who was a single mother raising a mixed-race child, all these kind of things. It was sort of a scarlet A. I was the embodiment of that, and maybe some of you were. And so she put me up for adoption. I was in Korean Social Services for a couple of years. And again, when we go with international adoption, it ends up being, with interracial adoption, particularly, vast majority of the families are white. So I was adopted into a Swedish-American family in Minnesota. They had 4 kids of their own, 3 girls and 1 boy, so they were all blonde, blue-eyed, and about 6'4". And we lived in a dinky little town in Minnesota. And I didn't know any English when I came, but then I lost all my Korean. And talk about Japan, I actually went back and found my Korean mother when I was an exchange student to Japan, and I had learned Japanese. And so when I went back and found her in Korea, she had grown up under Japanese occupation, and most Koreans of her generation could speak Japanese because they were forced to in school, and she had gone through like about 3rd grade. And so we talked to each other in Japanese, and had I not been an exchange student in Japan, I would not have been able to talk to my birth mother. So anyways, I use that sort of backdrop to really create this thing. Again, it is not a PG-13 kind of thing, because the business she was in and the issues that happened certainly are not. It deals with some of the most tragic elements. Korea at the time was going through a horrible, post-Civil War reconstruction. I grew up where there was no running water, no electricity, no sanitation. No electricity, so, and then suddenly coming to Middle America in Minnesota, where we had no African Americans, no Native Americans, no Jewish Americans, no Italian Americans, just basically it was Swedish, Norwegian, Danish. We had a few German descendants, and that was kind of the weird one. So anyway, I think we have a fascinating group. We have an amazing story to tell. The interesting thing was that the American Constitution is written as part of the Constitution. It requires that the U.S. government do a census, and it requires that census not be statistically done, but be done where every person must be counted. And the first census was done in 1790. And every 10 years since then it's been done, but not until 2010, the most recent one, was there a box for multiracial. We've had multiracial Americans since Thomas Jefferson. We know that now with genetics. So, you know, we are really representative of the future, not only of our society, but probably of the world. Each one of us is more complex than just a single box. Each one of us have more about us than simply something that by saying you're white or you're black or you're Jewish or you're Italian. And really we represent the continuum that every one of us represents. And so I'm really proud to come in for the first time and meet so many of you. And I sort of feel the same way that if, David read my book, so he can tell you if it was, he was kind enough to say nice things, and I really appreciate you doing a spotlight and inviting me here, and for what you and Joy have done, and Frankie for hosting this. I really appreciate it. So that's kind of it. If you have any questions, be happy. And Victoria already said all the good things. Amazon is the 860. Although I did find out 3 days ago that Walmart and Target are also carrying my book now. It's been out for about 2 months, and my publisher also got notified by Columbia University that it is in competition for the 2016 Pulitzer Prize. Many are called, few are chosen, so I doubt it. We'll see. But they said, do not contact us. This is the only communication you will now get until April 2016. There you go. Thank you all for being here. If you have any questions, be happy.
Thank you.